My name is Khiari Jaffier, and I am nominated for the F. John Outcalt Award for Outstanding Filmmaking. My film is called What We Owe to Ourselves, and it's about the idea of purpose versus self-worth in a society that pushes the agenda of sticking to something that makes more money rather than something that feels self-fulfilling.
I never spent much time contemplating what I wanted to be or what I was going to do with my life. I remember though that my parents asked me that infamous question, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Joining RealWorks was honestly one of my better life decisions. I was able to learn a multitude of different things. When I was nominated for the Outcalt Award, it made me realize that I was like just being in a category of talented filmmakers is honestly something that makes me feel really good about what I'm doing.
There's an old Shakespearean monologue that goes,
"All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players."
Then the monologue continues for a while, describing how we are born and bred to be whining children, fall in love, go to war, grow old, and die. And the accuracy is kind of uncanny. And aside for some modern conveniences, not much has changed between then and now. Life hasn't gotten easier, it's just gotten noisier. It's like a siren in an old Nordic fable, serving only as a distraction, a current event siren. You should be a lawyer fixing the justice system. You should be a scientist trying to help halt climate change or save the reefs. Those are the kind of songs they sing. You're young, you've still got the opportunity to fix the problems dumped onto you. But a life as conventional as that just sounds so upsetting.
Ever since I was literally born, I was like into art. In any shape or form. I'd have like a whole wall of just like my art pieces. I always knew that I would do art. Like, I don't know, I always planned to do art as a career. But at the same time, like, nobody was really like supportive, I'd say. Or they would be like, yeah, because, you know, I was small.
When I was much younger, I never spent much time contemplating what I wanted to be or what I was going to do with my life. It was pretty easy to relax and live in the moment, which is a superpower I wish I hadn't lost when I got older. I remember though that my parents asked me that infamous question, what do you want to be when you grow up? And for some reason, my definitive answer was a cashier at Target. Every single time, something more ecstatic with each response. Of course, eventually I realized that couldn't really be an aspiration. It was only when I looked at the employees' faces every time my family went shopping that I finally understood it. They never seemed truly happy. But it wasn't just their expressions of resignation either. I think I was looking at what it meant to conform.
I never really knew what I'd want to do as a career or like what I'd see myself doing. Everyone was already planning like them becoming doctors and lawyers, but I was like, I found everything like that boring.
There was a test that when we were teenagers that we were encouraged to take. It was called the Johnson-O'Connor test, and it was a test that tested your particular individual aptitude so that it would give you guidance. It would let you know what is internal and imminent to you that would be most likely the element that would make you happy and also successful, individually successful, not socially successful necessarily. And I think that that is a good way to start because most young people have no idea what they want to be. We're living longer, we have to do a career over a longer amount of time.
I think that all anybody really wants out of life, at any age, is to be happy or to do something that fulfills them. But the problem with me is that I don't find contentment very easy, and I often have trouble figuring out what it is that's self-fulfilling. So I found myself in a never-ending era of picking things up and just as quickly putting them down. And this cycle lasted for quite a while until I started middle school and started getting into computer science. And of course my parents were fully supportive, probably because they thought it meant that I'd make a lot of money if I got it right. But I knew that it was right because it somehow instantly clicked for me.
I would say my whole career in music started from my father. He's a jazz pianist and he used to be in a band as well. And I thought it was so cool that all of this sound could come out of this weird looking box with white and black keys on it. So then I started practicing for Elise at the age of like 6 or so. And it wasn't good at all. I was just playing the right hand part. But I'd play it every single day and just keep on playing it. And eventually I started getting put into piano lessons, which is where I learned how to read music and how to feel music as well in a way.
I went into high school and I already knew somebody who went here, and he said, hey, like you should join technical theater or crew. And I was like, sure, why not? What else do I have to do? And you know, ever since that day, I've just kind of grown into technical theater. It wasn't until like maybe sophomore, junior year, I thought that I see myself doing this as a career. I see myself freelancing and, you know, like socializing with new people every day.
I think that a child will face a lot of conflicts in our society right now. I think that most educational systems sort of reinforce parents as workers instead of as nurturers. We're told to be creative. We're told to be our own people. And then when we try to exert that individuality, we're punished for it. So I think that sort of sets up an imminent schizophrenia, actually.
The future doesn't really scare me. It's probably because I can't predict the future, which is probably what scares people, but I think it's really important to not know what's coming up, because if you know everything, it's one, that's pretty boring, and two, I don't think you'd want to know everything because that might drive you insane.
My mom being an immigrant mother, where she had to grow up like thinking that she has to become a doctor, and she only wants me to do good. She sees me earning like a 6-figure salary, or you know, just taking off of work whenever I can, but I can't see myself doing that.
Freshman year, I fell into a deep depression because I was very lonely and I really isolated myself. And I got to the point where I really drove myself insane. I don't really have goals at this age. My only goal is to maintain my happiness.
I told her that I wanted to do technical theater, and her first response was like, do you want to be a hobo? Like, do you want to be in money troubles all the time? And I didn't know how to explain to her that it's just, she's very like narrow-minded, and she doesn't see the world like I do, and I guess that's just like the first generation American compared to an immigrant.
We have really sold our souls to the concept that capitalism is the best economic system to live under. I think that we put a dollar sign on everything, and if you cannot accumulate material goods, then you are looked on as being less than the doctor, less than the lawyer. We categorize and we create hierarchies of what careers are most lucrative and what careers hold the most prestige. But usually that prestige is based upon wealth accumulation.
I meet so many new people in my life that are so immersed in completely different things, and I begin to hate the idea of an already determined life even more.
I still love to do art, and it's just like me going back and forth on whether I want to do art in technical theater. But then I always like come back to it. There's just something about it. There's something about like the atmosphere when I'm like around other people who do crew. And I know that it's gonna be a struggle getting there, but I think I'll find my way, you know.
Jazz really taught me a lot about creativity. While watching one documentary about Lee Morgan, I heard this one quote that really stuck with me about what creativity is to this one bassist. He talks about creativity, like the essence of creativity is the newness in things. And I really liked that. Art is essentially making something out of nothing. It's all kind of cheesy stuff, but I really like the cheesy stuff.
The freedom to choose and the diversity of our strengths is what we owe to each other. So, if all the world really is a stage, and all its men and women merely players, then there shouldn't be any harm in a little improv.